All right. Um, hey guys, I'm back with another one. I think this one requires a little bit of explanation. I was on Reddit. This guy was talking about how he was a Q and he was running into odd play styles. And he just showed three different games that he was very frustrated with and was just like, I don't understand what's happening. Like, how do I deal with all these playing styles? Like, what do you do? So my response was that you just hold to the basic tenets of Go. And then I asked for permission to make a video of them. That person agreed. So here we are. Um, so obviously, and I think a lot of professionals just say, for the most part, the Go is still Go. It doesn't really matter what style is. And honestly, at the Q level, style doesn't really, well, it comes into play, but you still have to play Go. So even when you're coming up against stuff you don't know, if you just take the honest, simple approach, it should be easy. So let's take a look at this, and we're going to look at three games. So this is going to be a long one. So hopefully this is fun for some of you, and for the person that was this was a problem. Hopefully this is very educational. Here the player is black. This one was let me make sure what my notes were. They said that they were a Moyo player, so they didn't know what to do. This makes no sense on an absolute level because it doesn't make territory. So black's right to ignore it. Makes a Joseki, makes a Joseki, and then takes a 3-3. This move is extra. You're okay just to do this. In fact, this ends in your Sente. That's just the basic Joseki error. So that's a thing. But, white responds, so whatever. And then black does this. If you've listened to any of my lessons, I don't want to call them lessons, any of the videos that I've released, you'll know why this isn't that good of a thing. So why is that? Simply put, this entire group, at the end of the Joseki, this is technically a living or a strong group. So this move, all it's doing is threatening a strong group. So white is free to ignore this, or white's free to attack this. White is actually can do anything they want against this stone. So what would you do as white? Well, first of all, you could just Tanuki. That's an obvious one. So let's not talk about that. Let's just say if you really wanted to attack this, just getting this is fine, right? Because if you do this, this is immediately under attack, and you're making territory right here. So that's the first thing. Second thing is, yeah, you can just attack it even more fiercely this way if you want to get more stuff here. But in general, the reason, so what black is thinking, or okay, what I interpret that black is doing here, is that they think that they're getting the jump on this and attacking this. But you're attacking a weak group. Um, and maybe it's great. Maybe on a computer level, this is fine. Maybe if you just start playing lightly and you jump out. But even then, I think it's very difficult for a Q player to do this. My my thing I would tell a Q player is just, this is still a weak stone. You can attack this and gain territory in the corner, and you can slowly play here later. In fact, if white makes this territory with one move, let's say does this, right? If white does this, you can just squeeze this down, and then it's only, 3 times 10. 30 here, maybe another 40 here, which isn't as big as you think because there's 10 points ish here, 10 points ish here. So it's a 10-point gain, but you also gain 10 points by getting to play elsewhere. So that's the one thing. So with Moyo stuff like this, you think, oh my god, you made a Moyo, I need to stop it right now. If you can, that's great. You have to do it in a way that works with the rest of the board, right? You can't just jump in here. You might be able to play a splitting move, actually. That might be to your benefit. But honestly, if you don't feel like doing this, I'd just say, yeah, just play slowly. Just grab some territory. If he spends more time on this, that's great. If he doesn't spend more time on this, then it gives you more opportunities elsewhere. Case in point, let's say he just jumps over to, you can do this thing. You're threatening to make territory here, and then you have more stones in the center to play off of. So yeah, the first problem is here. Black thinks that white's doing a Moyo game and just has to stop it, but is also attacking a living group. Even if this happens, this doesn't feel like a pleasant outcome for black. So white gets Sente, and then black jumps out. Same thing basically happens, right? Here's the thing. Now you're making it heavy. The more stones you're committing to this, the more problematic it's going to become. Because then you're going to be like, well, I spent... Here, you play lightly because you're not afraid of this stone being captured. Okay, that's horrible. Here. This square stone being captured. But then when he does this, you're like, oh my gosh, I have to protect it. Which is not the point of this move. If you thought that move was worth protecting, you would have just done a jump. Because then you could just do a tiger's mouth. So anyways. So now you can see what black originally tried to do with a light move has now become a huge, heavy group that has no eyes. Right? In fact, white might be able to do a Sente move here first. Okay, well, black probably wouldn't play that. But like this, to make this even harder on black. So yeah. With this, 2 moves already, 1 and 2, have really put you behind the 8 ball. Because you're just trying, you think it's a Moyo game, and then you instantly attack a living group, and then you come under attack yourself. Okay. So whatever, I don't care. And then black does this. Again, this is one of those, you're trying to fight fire with fire, maybe you think you need to do Moyo. But the question is, how does this move, at a very absolute level, how does this get you any territory? It doesn't, right? You'd still need to play at least another move, if not 2, to make territory. At least with this, you can say you've made territory. But you feel, what black felt here is probably that they've committed so many stones to a wall here that they need to build off of it here. And so but they end up sacrificing any opportunity to make territory on the side already. This is what I don't like about it. So yeah, white just plays the way white plays, and whatever. So black thinks, oh, well, this is great, I've built the wall. But you've given up, that same amount of territory on the side. So this ends up not being as big as you think. And let's say these 3 lines, right? And then these 3 lines. But then this territory is very hard to control. White can just play any old move in the side. Okay, that's definitely not good. Let's ignore that. White can play any move here to immediately reduce this. And then black does this, which gives up the corner, which that's an obviously bad move. So yeah, white takes the corner. So then all of this 30, let's say about, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, about 20 points has to be moved over here. So black gets carved out. Let's see if there's anything else here. This white move makes no sense. And then black just tries to make territory. Black tries to make territory. So yeah, the rest of this looks pretty straightforward. So the biggest mistakes were what happens here and what happens here. And that's basically it. The simple thing was that black tried to attack a weak group. Black tried to attack a strong group here. And then tried to jump away lightly, then made his group heavy. And then tried to capitalize on this, but didn't make territory on the process of either attacking this white stone right here, or trying to make territory up here, which obviously was, which is actually very hard. So that's all you really need to know about this Moyo game. And yeah, like I said, the basic ideas are just the same. This is what you would do at this point is you'd say, well, this is a strong enough. Okay, let's not place it there. This is a strong enough group. This is maybe a little bit strong, but this one's weak, and I can make territory attacking this. Well, let's just play there instead. And that's all you need to do to really go for it. So yeah, that's the Moyo game. This is person in question was still black in this, and they said that white was being unreasonable. So let's see what happens by them being unreasonable. It's a corner. That's fine. And then white extends themselves. So black jumps in the middle. Problem with this one is this move is not directly attacking either 1 or 2, right? This is just sort of in the middle, and so white has an extension here to make their group safe, and then white also has, maybe some corner or some, corner shenanigans to make themselves safe. What black needs to do here is commit to an attack, so black should probably either do this, or maybe black should either do this. I think this is actually a pretty good idea. Let's see what else happens. So black tries to attack, and then white gets out. I don't see what's so unreasonable about this. In fact, what black needs to realize is that their group right here is weak. So it just needs to get strong. And happens is, as this group gets strong, one of these will get weak. Really doesn't matter which one, right? You can choose. You can always choose. But honestly, like with 2 weak groups, white's going to have a trouble dealing with both of them. You could just lean on this, right? Force this to live somehow. And then just kill here. Also, the thing is, yeah, that's all. That's all. I don't want to get into the intricacies of Joseki. But black tries to sort of do a variation of this. Here's the thing, though. Black called white unreasonable. This attack is actually highly unreasonable. Why is that? Because this group's still weak. You can't attack from a position of weakness. White's sort of stronger because they're sort of out, and they're a lot more out, and they have Sente moves here. They have more opportunity to get themselves safe compared to black over here. White has a lot of potential to hurt A at this point. That's a weird move. Yep. Yeah. So what you see here with what white did with 1, 2, with these 2 moves, let's put it this way, is that black had to respond because his group here, let's call it group A, was weak. So yeah, your group was weak, so you weren't able to attack this. It wasn't actually white being unreasonable, it was black being unreasonable. White spends a lot of moves getting safe, but whatever. This is unnecessary, I think. Maybe not. Honestly, maybe taking here would be a good idea, because then you have, if black takes here, or even if black extends here, then this is under more pressure. This is actually ignoring what the fight is over here. Honestly, and also, this group is still weak. Black needs to focus on this group. Apologies for the fan. I'll use a pair of headphones next time. So yeah, and then this issue shows up again. That black had to respond back. This is unreasonable, I will admit. But what is the problem here? Black just connects. I'm actually a little confused here where the problem is. But whatever, not my problem. And then Black does this. Black's being unreasonable, actually. Your whole point in this game was to attack this or this. Let's use A and B. A and B. And if this group is strong enough, you should just attack this. And I'm pretty sure this is, because it has, a point of territory here and more opportunities here. In fact, if you're worried about this group, this might be more important because it prevents them from linking over underneath, and it gives you an eye. But instead this happens. So white responds, and then this happens. And then you have to make life? No. So yeah, this is actually black being unreasonable rather than white. White capitalized on black's mistakes. And yeah, this was a weak point that black didn't. This point at A was a weak point that black didn't protect. So of course it gets cut off. This is actually black being unreasonable with an attack rather than white being unreasonable, because black attacked with weak groups that left a bunch of weak points that white could capitalize on. This is actually more kudos to white to finding this. Let's see what the rest of this is. That's not unreasonable. Why did you do this? Black doing this is an endgame move. This one right here. This is an endgame move. If you thought you could attack this, you need to keep up the attack. Black is in no danger of dying anytime soon. If you're afraid of, let's say, let's use a fake move, of this move, it's still sort of fine, and you can still run. And that's me playing it Tanuki, right? So you should actually be running out, continuing the attack right here, so they don't have time to do this. But that's the point of the attack. So yeah, once you give this up, then white can have an opportunity to connect back. Black might think that white's being unreasonable, but black has given up the momentum many times. And this is all, like I said, just strong and weak groups. None of this feels unreasonable. I mean, right? This gets out because of that. Also, why did you force a ladder is beyond me. Yeah. So let's go back to this, just as a final thing. So when black pincers, black tries to get out, which makes no sense. I don't think this is actually a Joseki either. Usually white does this, and then there's a huge cutting point problem here. So black actually played an unreasonable Joseki. Anyways, that's all I can really say about this. This one, the biggest points were that you did black did a weak attack, and then this actually isn't even an attack either. This doesn't, like, you can't tell me that this hurts either of them. This is if we take the idea that you get 2 stones to hurt something. For this, you'd need, okay, let's just use this. You need this stone, and then this stone. Something like that. Kills it dead. And this is not, doesn't help at all. You can say, oh, well, this and then this, but even then, there's still weird Aji here. And it's not definitively dead. So for this one, if you actually wanted to attack this group, you would do this. So what else is there? Yeah, so black's attack here is unreasonable because A is still weak. Simple. And yeah, so this is an example. White gets these Sente moves 1 and 2 because A is still weak. And then This is superfluous. Most of you who've watched this know why. This entire thing is living, so it doesn't need this group. The moves that need, the groups that need an extra stone are this one and this one by a far margin. I don't really think this needs another stone, but there you are. So that's all there is to this quote unquote unreasonable move game by white. It's actually an unreasonable game by black. This move also makes no sense. This doesn't get you living, and I don't know. Just, yeah. If your group isn't living, you make it living. You could just do this. Maybe this, and then you could just do that. Or you could just take. Taking is great. You got an eye, and it makes this a huge problem for that. It's basically just taking care of your weak groups. The thing is, you think this is a Sente against this group, and it does two things. It doesn't really, it's not as big of a Sente. Let's be selfish about this. How does this immediately help this group? If you can't see it, then it's not really that helpful. This is more helpful than this move. Anyways, so that's the unreasonable game. Let's go to the final one. So this is the one where they felt that white had no real opening. 3-3 weirdness. 3-3 weirdness. Joseki, it's fine. This is still a weak point. Why don't you just finish the Joseki? Make yourself a strong group. That's enough. That's all there is to it. Push that. Whatever. Make yourself a strong group. That's fine. This isn't really much of an attack. Why is that? I'd much rather you just take out its base. But, whatever. Problems always show up later. You got a group. This makes no sense. I guess you're trying to take out their eyes, but you don't really need to do that. There are bigger moves than this. You can just play a move here. If you play a move here and they spend that, you're going to make more points here than they are with their whatever move right here. That's enough. You don't need to worry about any more than that. Let's see. And you attack it again. See, these attacks, yes, they are weak groups and you can go after and attack them, but they're not big. You're actually not going to see a benefit because A, you're not going to actually kill them, right? You can see that it's not actually going to die. And so, and B, after you do this, you don't make territory. You should just make territory immediately. Okay, let's keep going. I don't know what that is. What is this? This is a living group. Does this living group need another move? It doesn't. So, yeah, it's a wasted move. It's fine. It's fine. Our group here is still weak. Yeah, and so white made a strong group. Okay, so this is the same thing. You've made the two of the same mistakes. We're going to call them A and B. A is a mistake and B is a mistake. You think you're playing an endgame move in the opening. That's the easiest way to explain it. The other way to explain it is that these groups, A is a living group. It doesn't need this to get an eye. This is a living group. It doesn't need this to get another eye. You don't need to be playing these moves. This also makes no sense. What are you... this move... There's no easy way for you to make a base or eyes, and you don't have any support from the outside. So this move is bad. And then you Tanuki. But, okay, sure. Let's see how long it takes for black to come back and take care of this group. Oh, right now. Good. whatever. Get safe. Good. This of all three ways to approach this is probably the best one. This, I don't understand what you're trying to do. So at this point, the only weak group on the board is A. I would just focus on that. And then let's just keep going. What the heck? That's Black's own fault for not seeing this. This makes no sense. Why does this make no sense? Because if you're trying to go after this entire group, you would just cap it. Right? If it goes this way, you stop it. If it goes this way, you can cap it here. And if it does this, you can cut it. This move right here looks like you're forcing white out, and you're not actually stopping white. And then you Tanuki twice. So that makes it even harder for this. That makes more chances for white to live here. When this happens, you have to stop him. When this happens, you have to stop. What did you do instead? You Tanuki, and you Tanuki again. Therein lies the problem. I'm guessing, yep, cut. And this is weird, but okay. This is a little bit weird. I think black, whatever. You have one eye, and that's it. Yeah, so back when I said at this point, let's see. At this point, this was the only weak group needed to worry about. This is why we end up sort of in this situation, where as a result, this comes under quote-unquote attack. Obviously, this is 20, 30 moves. There are plenty of times Black could have gotten out of this mess. But, you know, Black had a big weak group here. So, that's its own thing. I know what happens here. Does white live? Yeah, white lives. And then Black's weak group. But, yeah, this is... Yeah, so then this entire group gets taken. And that's, I mean, it's a little bit more extreme for me to say this is all because of your 1 week group. I mean, there are obviously ways you could have gotten out of this. But if this group at the beginning wasn't weak, you wouldn't be in this mess. Right? At this point, this is the only weak thing on the board. If you take care of this, you can do whatever you want on the board and probably win. Because white only has this amount of territory, and that's it. So yeah, at the end, a lot of these were just, you know, basic whatevers, where if you kept your weak group strong, that would have been fine, and then didn't attack the strong group. Hopefully this was helpful. It's just one of those things where if you break it down, a lot of these mistakes are really just basic things that you need to be thinking about. So hopefully it's helpful for the person who was on Reddit talking about this, and hopefully this is helpful for any other Q level person playing against weird plays or playing against what they think are supposed styles. At the end of the day, Go is still Go, and you need to just adhere to do better. You probably need to adhere to just making your, you know, weak group strong. Don't overemphasize your strong groups, stuff like that. Hopefully that's helpful. All right. Until the next episode. Bye, guys.